last frost date is tomorrow, and today was a planting day. Got quite a bit out, so I'm going to show you just a few things that we got out. I would have recorded while I was planting, but Trig was helping, and I just don't think that was going to go very well to try to record while I was planting with him. So I'm going to show you, I've got the second round of tomatoes out here hardening off, because all the ones that were hardening off before are now in the ground. And so my grow lights are looking rather empty right now, which is interesting, other than the basil that I just split and potted up because I had to get them out of those peat pods. They were just, even constant watering wasn't keeping them alive. So I do have like 12 basil plants under the grow lights, but those will be going out shortly when it starts warming up a bit more as well. But let's go look at what I put out here. I'm just going to point out where I planted stuff. This is a little bit kind of to remind me as well, because I have labels on the tomatoes, but I don't have labels on anything else. So here we go. Woo! Fell off the step. These are the rest of the tomatoes. Most of those are the surprise tomatoes. The two in the corner in the squares are the solar flares, and I think that's one of Daddy's right there. Those, the bright green one's the volunteer one that I have no idea what it is. But the other ones are ones of Daddy's tomatoes that have gotten puny, and I've just sat them out here to harden them off so that I can try to move them out into the grass or move them out into the garden to try to get them, maybe get their roots a little more room, kind of spruce them up a little bit, and maybe they'll survive. There's no guarantee. They probably won't. But I had something like 9 of those plants because every one of them I planted germinated. So it's not like a huge loss because I already have 2 out here in the garden. So let's go over where we planted everything. So this is garden 3, and in the window right there, there's 3 rows of the Hope Turquoise Glass Gem corn from Baker Creek. Then in like 3 groups right there is the scalloped yellow squash that will be bushes, and there's probably going to be a space right in between them. I may put an eggplant or something in there because the eggplants and the peppers are the only ones that are still under the grow lights in the basement. Right there in that section is where I did the acorn squash that will climb up this trellis, and then in that section I did the Thai purple potted yard long beans. It's a mouthful, but it's also from Baker Creek, so they will be going up that trellis as well. The acorn squash were saved seeds from what I got at the grocery store, so you can do that. Let's see what happens. I've had other saved seeds from the grocery store germinate, so we will see. The yellow scallop squash was also from Baker Creek. Now in this little section right here where this onion is growing, that's going to be going up this trellis is where the spaghetti squash is going to go. It's going to go up and over this. Now I haven't planted anything on this side of the trellis because I will be harvesting those radishes. I mean, look how much those radishes have grown since the last video. I literally did a video last Sunday, so it's been 5 days. Those radishes have doubled in size. Like, I mean, there's several of them there's one right there, there's a couple back there, there's like 1 or 2 right there that I probably should pick. But yeah, all of them have doubled in size. And the peas are growing, and the pole beans, like these are just the standard 12-foot pole beans that I put on this bean wall last year, and they're all up and happy and growing. So yay for them. And the peas. Now the tomatoes are out. Now you'll notice a gap right there in the middle. I am going to put more of the surprise tomatoes in those. I'll probably plant 2 more of those in those spaces. But we've got the solar flares, we've got the surprise one right there, we've got the sunrise bumblebee. That is a ground cherry right there in the corner, and then I think that one is a solar flare as well, and that one is a sunrise bumblebee. Now this is one of those that volunteered, that I really don't know what kind of tomato it is. It came up in the dirt mixed in where I had come out here and got dirt out of the garden bed, so it is probably one of the tomatoes from last year, which we planted German pinks last year, and we had some really, really pretty striped ones. So I'm hoping it's one of those. So we'll see what it does. I up-potted the other ones in that same cup to, you know, maybe take to my dad or, you know, plant them somewhere else. But there will be a gap right here as well, which will also either be where peppers or eggplants will be planted in this little gap right here. Now, there will be things planted on this side of the trellis as well, like right there and right here. I believe I'll do cucumbers going up the sides here, and the melons. I've got the cucumbers on the back porch sprouting, but the melons I'm not putting out yet. I'm terrible with the camera today, guys, mainly because I'm like trying to walk and I have a horrible crick in my neck that's been there for like 3 days, and so I'm like awkward moving. But I'm gonna show you a few of the things up here that are also sprouting, because that's kind of what's going on over there. I haven't put any of the okra or anything out, and to be honest, I know I did the seed starting video, but only like 4 out of 12 of those plants have germinated. Ironically, the saved seeds, both sets of those germinated. I've got a couple of the rainbow ones that did, and only one of the pinks. So I'm going to obviously take those plants, but I believe I'm going to direct sow over the next weekend or the weekend after into the garden and just let them take their chances out there. I seriously think it's the peat pots. I just can't keep them wet enough to get them to germinate. So yeah, definitely not using those again. So here we go. In this grow bag, this is the only grow bag that doesn't have potatoes in it. This grow bag has the dragon-tongued bush bean, and that is also from Baker Creek, and they will have like pretty striped pink looking pods. So those are going to be really pretty, and I'm going to end up putting 2 more in this. I'm going to end up picking all the violas out of for tea, and then I'm going to cut the tulips down because they're done, and then I'm going to fill it up a little bit more with dirt because it is rather low. And then I'm gonna succession sow another round of the bush beans in that. Now I do have some red bush beans, and so I may put the red bush beans in that and see what we do. I haven't decided, but we've got potatoes that are getting big back there, and oh goodness, let's just go ahead and show you all the potatoes. I mean, you can see some of these are getting really tall. Now this is a good comparison. You see how dark the leaves are on those other ones versus the leaves on this one? This is the Yukon Gold versus the blue potatoes or the purple potatoes. Their colorization are going to be really, really pretty as far as like contrasting, because we didn't keep them separate. We did just, you know, stick them in whatever we wanted to put them in. Now, this one is one that I need to correct, just so you know. I will need to mound that up. You see how tall the stems are? They should not be that far out of the ground. So I am going to add more dirt to this and mound this one up. Now you see the wooden dowels I have in there? That's keeping that from falling over on that plant. But yeah, pretty much all of our bags now have signs of life. Like every one of them do. Looks like we are doing really well with the potatoes. And oh my goodness, look at this lettuce. This lettuce has nearly doubled as well in size. And I'm just now noticing these red ones that have come up. But I'm going to come out and start picking a few little leaves here and there, especially off those back ones, just to give them more space. And again, like this is Brussels sprouts that's intermixed. And with this, I don't know if they're going to do well. We will wait and see. Again, with the carrots, they're more of a cold weather crop. I don't know if they're going to do well. The cilantro, I mean, which it was time for it, but it is trying to go to seed. I have cut a bunch of the seed pods off of them. I'm trying to keep them, but we will end up getting some coriander from that, and so I'm not like horribly upset over it. The other thing that's really cool, obviously I've never grown kale until last year. The kale is going to seed, and this is what their flowers look like. I'm going to try to collect seeds from this. That is the blue kale. And then the curly kale is up here. And now these plants, I'm going to end up cutting them down rather quickly after they have done their seed thing, because I'm going to use that space back there. Oh, look at that maple tree growing in back there. You see that thing? I swear those things are all in the mulch. All in the mulch. They're everywhere. So anyway, I'm going to end up tearing up some of these. And because we've got the newer plants coming up here in the front, which I say that, these are still some of our old ones, and they're tiny, but they're trying to go to seed. Speaking of tiny things trying to go to seed, so the tot soy is a fail. I knew that it was a cold weather crop. What is this? right here. I knew it was a cold weather crop, but I thought maybe I would have a little bit of time to mess with it and get it to grow. It has not gotten any bigger since I transplanted them outside. Like, I mean, you see how tiny those plants are. They've not gotten any bigger. This one tried to bolt. I had to cut the top off of it. It's still bolting. I don't think that they're going to grow. I think it's just too warm. So I'm going to try them again in the fall and see what happens. But goodness, look at that red kale. Oh my goodness, that kale's so pretty. But the spinach is also going to seed. You see the seed pods and stuff in that. I'm leaving those alone because I'm curious. I'm a very curious sort. I want to see what they do. But I have been still harvesting leaves off of the spinach and eating those. Look at that stupid maple tree back there in that corner. My God, the bane of my existence. Though Toby has been saying he's wanting to dig one up and put it in the yard. But, ugh, we'll see. All of the little onions, like there are little green things like hidden in with the garlic, and those are onions. These are kohlrabi. All of these that are planted up through here are kohlrabi. But again, they've not gotten any bigger since I've planted them out. I think that it just may be that they are cold weather plants and they're just not going to do well with our weather. I mean, we've already had some days where it hit 75, 80 degrees, and I think that it just gets too warm too quick in the spring. So it's one of those things that I will have to wait and see next year, and maybe plant it in the fall and see if I can grow it in the winter. That'll be another thing that I try and experiment. I mean, I'm going to leave them in there. I'm not going to take them out, but they're obviously not doing anything, and I'm being summoned. Trig, hold on, babe. But yeah, I'm being yelled at, so this is going to end up being cut short. So but I am going to try to make room in this back corner where the spinach is going. This is where a lot of my pepper plants are going to go. I do have obviously the pumpkin spice jalapeno pepper plants. I'm going to end up having to buy some banana pepper plants. I have not been able to get banana peppers to germinate. I've tried 3 separate times now. Did the same thing with them that I did with the jalapeno peppers. Can't get them to germinate. Now granted, they're saved seed, so maybe that's what was going on with it. I don't know. But I'm just going to bite the bullet this year and just buy a couple of established pepper plants here in another couple of weeks when it starts getting more warm and put them out here. So I'm just going to do that for the banana peppers because I do want those. But I'm going to cut this one off, leave it rather short. It's been a good day of putting stuff in the ground, getting my hands dirty, you know, potting stuff up, or rearranging the grow lights and things because different things are under it and a lot less are underneath it. I've got one light's completely empty. I may just need to take it down. So it's spring, guys, and we're moving forward, and I'm excited. I can't wait to see the garden green and the trellises full, and just the magic of walking out there every day and finding something different that has changed, or something that has grown, or something that I have never seen before, because I'm growing some new stuff. So I'm rather excited. And another thing I'm rather proud of is those tomato plants out there. I grew those things from seed. I have never grown tomato plants from seed. I really thought that I would kill them. When I did the video on this months ago, really thought that they would not survive, that I would kill them, that I would do something wrong, something would be off, they would not survive. I did not think I would get to this point. Like, this is my first hurdle. Like, getting to the frost date and getting them in the ground in the garden, that was my first hurdle. And I made it. I got it. I done it. So now the next hurdle is to get them to bear fruit. So we'll see what happens with that as we go along. And anyway, you guys have a good weekend. He's getting grumpy. I'll talk to you guys soon, or do more of a video later. But hey, happy last day, or last chance of frost. I can't talk. Last chance. Bye.